This is Math 6, Lesson 7-5, Scale Drawings. A scale is the ratio that compares the length of a drawing or model to the length of the original object. Now, obviously, if you wanted to show somebody what your house was going to look like before you actually built your house, you wouldn't build a full-size model in your backyard because that would be building your house. You might build a small model of it. When you create replicas of things using Legos, like if you created a fire truck and you created it out of Legos, you created a model of something. It will be a scaled down version, a smaller version of it. When you use scale drawings to determine things, you are either making the object bigger or smaller than it originally was. To find the scale of a drawing, you need to compare. If it says the length of a drawing of a kitten is 3 centimeters and the actual length of the kitten is 27 centimeters, what is the scale of the drawing? Well, we're going to compare the scale to the actual. Scale to the actual. The scale was 3 centimeters. The kitten actually was 27 centimeters. So we have a 3 to 27 scale, which we can reduce to lowest terms by dividing by 3. If I divide 3 by 3, I get 1. If I divide 27 by 3, I get 9. So the scale is 1 centimeter to 9 centimeters. That means every 1 centimeter on the scale, the actual thing is 9 centimeters long. So that's our scale. Now you can use scales on maps and all kinds of things to be able to solve problems. It says use a map scale of 1 inch is equal to 20 miles to find the actual distance of 3.4 inches. If you were to look on a regular map, like in your geography book or your history book, okay, they will often put a scale on your map so that you can tell how big or small something actually is. So if my scale to my actual is 1 inch to 20 miles. Oops, not minutes, miles. Okay, so 1 inch is equal to 20 miles. So if 1 inch is equal to 20 miles, 3.4 inches is equal to how many miles? We went inches to miles. Scale to actual is equal to scale to actual. 1 inch was my scale, over 20 miles was my actual. 3.4 inches is my scale, over x is my actual, so I'm solving for x. This is a proportion, so let's cross multiply. Okay? So if I'm going to cross multiply on my proportion, I'm going to multiply x times 1, and that's going to equal 20 times 3.4. So x is going to equal 20 times 3.4. And that's going to give me 68. Now the last thing I need to do is make sure that I label. Okay? Inches to miles, 3.4 is inches, x was supposed to be miles, so x is going to equal 68 miles. So the question was, find the actual distance for 3.4 inches. The actual distance for 3.4 inches is 68 miles. Okay. Always make sure the last thing you do is make sure that you labeled it correctly based upon what your scale and actual fraction was to begin with. Let's look at another one. Suppose you are making a model of an 18-meter boat. You use a scale of 1 centimeter is equal to 2.5 meters. Find the length of your model boat. Okay, so 18 meters is the actual boat. It's the one sitting on the dock. Okay, you're making a scale model of this. So if 1 centimeter, if the scale to the actual is that 1 centimeter is equal to 2.5 meters. Okay, so 1 centimeter is equal to 2.5 meters. You have an 18-meter boat. That means the 18 meters needs to go on the bottom because it's centimeters to meters. Your scale is 1, your actual is 2.5. You own a boat that is 18 meters long, so that's your actual length. You need to find what the scale model length is going to be you want to find the length of your model of your boat. Okay, still cross multiplying here. So 2.5 times x is going to equal 1 times 18. Okay, so I'm going to just move this up here so I can see it a little bit better. So I get 2.5x will equal 18. To get x by itself, I divide by 2.5. So I'm going to take 18 and I'm going to divide it by 2.5. Remember, you need to move that decimal point. So I'm now taking 25 into 180. Okay, I know that 25 times 7 is 175. So that leaves me 5. Annex a 0, bring that down. 25 goes into 52 times. So that I know that x has to equal 7.2. Now I need to check my label. Centimeters was on the top of the fraction, meters was on the bottom of the fraction, so x has got to be 7.2 centimeters long. Always double check to make sure you're labeling things correctly. Number 4. The length of a drawing of an object is 6 inches. The length of the actual object is 84 inches. What is the scale of the drawing? So we have the scale to the actual. The scale is 6 inches, while my actual object is 84 inches. I need to figure out the scale of the drawing, which means I'm going to take 6 over 84 and I'm going to reduce that to lowest terms. Let's see, 8 and 4 is 12. 12 is divisible by both 2 and 3, so this whole entire thing has to be divisible by 6. So I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 84 divided by 6, 6 goes into 8 one time. With 2 left over, 6 goes into 24 4 times, so it's 1/14. So my scale of the drawing is 1 inch is equal to, 1 inch to 14 inches. Alright, that's the scale of my drawing. 1 inch to 14 inches. For every 1 inch in real life, the thing is, for 1 inch on my drawing, the actual thing is actually 14 inches long. Alright, last question. The White House is 170 feet long. Using a scale of 1 inch to 10 feet, how long is your model of the White House? You're building a lovely model of your White House to give to Mrs. Z before she goes to Washington, D.C. on the famous Washington, D.C. trip. So if we do scale to actual, scale to actual, we have 1 inch is equal to 10 feet. Okay, so 1 inch is equal to 10 feet. The White House is actually 170 feet long. Since inches is on the top of my fraction and feet are on the bottom of my fraction, 170 feet goes down here and x goes on the top. If I'm going to cross multiply, I have 10 times x equals 1 times 170. So 10x equals 170. Divide by 10. X will equal, I hope you know how to divide by 10 in your head. If not, you can do it off to the side. 10 goes into 17 one time. 10 goes into 77 times. You just move the decimal place one place to the left. So, how long is the scale of my model of the White House? My model will be 17 inches long, because the model's scale is in inches and the actual item is in feet. Figuring out scale drawings is not hard because, once again, we're just using that handy dandy thing called a proportion.